My name's Josh in the movie, and it's about how my dad died and how I'm really depressed and like lost in life. And I find this dog that can play basketball, and we go to halftime shows and stuff like that, and do all this kinds of stuff. And I make the basketball team, and I find out that.
Excuse me, sorry, you guys. Rolling.
Briefly, what's the story?
It's about a kid and a dog, but it starts off with a kid and his dad dies. So he's really detached, and he never talks or anything. And he finds a dog at a secret court, and they do halftime shows and stuff like that because this dog can play basketball. And this clown, who he regularly belonged to, wants the dog back. So I take the dog and I bring him to an island, and I have to get rid of him because I don't want him to be with the clown because the clown beats him up. Well, he doesn't beat him up, but he's like abusive to him. So I get rid of him on the island, but then he runs back to my house, and we go to court, and this is what we're doing right now. And well, it decides who gets the dog, and they let the dog decide who they want to go to. So I won't give away the end of the story, but that's pretty well what's going on in the movie.
Now,
Sorry, just adjusting something. You can continue on, sir.
no, we're
Just-
doing a shot.
Yeah.
Kevin, you've been shooting for a few days now. What's the dog really like?
Buddy? Well, he's a really, really cool dog. They have actually 3 of them. One that is light and I can carry around, and he jumps a lot. And there's one, they call him Stupid. He just runs around and dives on people and jumps off buildings, and he's just kind of a stupid dog. And Buddy, a really low-key dog who likes playing basketball. And yeah, so Buddy, I say, is the most talented, but the other 2 dogs really help him out with like all the different shots in the movie.
Have you watched him play basketball yet?
Yeah, actually, we play basketball together. You have to kind of feed him with the pass for him to be able to shoot it, because we have to have a certain kind of basketball, and you have to let a little air out of it and put some oil on it. So when he bites the ball, it slides out of his mouth and gets higher and higher, and it eventually goes in the net. So.
Is he a nice dog to work with?
Oh yeah, it's a really cool dog to work with.
And what's the whole shoot like? Is it a fun shoot? Is it an easy shoot, or is it a lot of work?
It's one of the harder shoots that I've had because it's 6 days a week and 12-hour days, so it's kind of hard, but it's a lot of fun too. Everyone's great on the set.
It's a pretty big role you're playing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of my first lead roles in a feature film before.
Now tell me, how long have you been in business?
6 or 7 years or 5 years, yeah, something around there.
How did you get started?
Well, I was actually a modeler. That's hard to believe, but an agent in Toronto asked me if I would like to join her agency. So I first got a couple commercials, and then more commercials, and then some more TV stuff, and then I got a little role at a movie, and then it just one thing led to another, and we got a different agent because this agent didn't have access to the United States and stuff like that, so we changed agents, and now we're still with the same agency, and she's got us a lot of work lately.
Now, you were in that Life with Mikey movie, were you not?
Yeah, I played Michael J. Fox as a kid. That was my first role. It was a really little role. I was actually a very bad actor at that time, and they just chose me because I looked like Michael J. Fox, so I was kind of lucky that I got that one.
What have you done to improve your acting?
Well, just keep working and keep working and keep working and experience different shots, like crying scenes and fun scenes and mad scenes and fast scenes. So once you experience those things, it just helps your acting quite a lot.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I love acting, and I hope to do it for the rest of my life, actually.
What about school? How do you juggle school and that?
Well, we get here and we have about an hour before they set up the shots, and so I have a tutor and I do school for about an hour then, and during lunch we normally do about an hour, and on Monday, our day off, we do 4 hours of school every day. So we have to get in 15 hours of school a week. So yeah. that's
What would you say is the most difficult thing about making this movie?
the long hours maybe, or 6 days a week. I've never really done 6 days a week, and so you just get here, have fun, do work, but then you go home and then you have to go to sleep and wake up early in the morning and start all over again. So, yeah, that's probably the toughest part.
Where do you think this film will take you?
Well, I hope it'll turn big and get all over the place, and then maybe they'll make a sequel of this movie so I can get to work with all these great people again. So, yeah.
So where do you think you're going to be? You're 13 now?
12.
12. Where do you think you're going to be, say, 10, 15 years from now?
10, 15 years from now, I hope to still be an actor or a director, and I hope to have kids and be married and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Now, you mentioned director. Do you watch the director work? Do you get points?
Yeah, I just look at what he does and focus on what he does when I'm not working, and just figure out all the decisions he has to make and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's cool to watch him work because he has a lot of different jobs to do.
And how does Charlie direct? What kind of direction does he give?
Charlie's a really good director because he knows what's going on at all times, and just you can suggest something and he'll think about it and see if it'll go in with the scene. But yeah, he's a really good director.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You're also a very good interviewer.
Thank you.
Actually, we're rolling.
Okay. Can I get in there a little bit? Okay. Charlie, quite a big shoot here.
Isn't it though? Isn't it though? Yeah.
What is it like? All these people, the dog. Is it a madhouse to shoot with an animal?
Yeah, it's about average. I'll tell you, we have really good. Buddy is a wonderful dog. He's really a remarkable dog and much easier to shoot with than I think most animals would be. But you know the old thing: anytime you get kids and animals, you should have your head examined. What are you doing? You know, it's just such delightful subject matter that it's all worthwhile.
You know, we recognize you immediately.
Uh-huh.
You're an actor as well.
Right.
We're not aware that you're a director. How long have you been directing as well?
I've been directing on and off for about 8 or 9 years. I've done a couple of films and a fair amount of television stuff in the U.S. So it's something I've been doing now for, as I say, 8 or 9 years, sort of going back and forth between acting and directing. I enjoy it a lot. When I was in university, I was a directing student, actually more than an acting student. And I did some theater and all that, and sort of got into film directing in the 80s.
How did you put this cast together?
Well, I'll tell you. You know, it all starts with the script. And I have found that if you get a script that works and a story that works, it's much, much easier to get cast. We have wonderful actors in this. I mean, if you were to talk about a dream cast, you know, people that I would have loved to have had in this film, I have an entire cast full of those people. And that's really delightful. I'm just happy that they responded to the script and the material and the kind of movie we're making. I think people want to be part of an uplifting, good film, but a film made with a good heart behind it, you know. And I think that's what we've got here.
You know, we're just interviewing the kid. I mean, he's a pretty amazing kid.
He's a remarkable kid. He is a remarkable kid. We looked at actors at kid actors in Los Angeles. We looked at kid actors in Vancouver. I think we saw all the kid actors in Vancouver. We looked at tapes from actors from all over. And I went to Toronto, and that was where I met Kevin. And I saw a tape of his first, and I immediately responded to how he comes across on film. He just comes across in front of the camera beautifully. And he was a real find. I was delighted. Went to Toronto, met with him, and I was really, really impressed with him. He's a very solid actor, and just a great kid. He's bringing an awful lot to this part. It's a very difficult role.
Now, when they say you're mad if you're making a movie with kids or with animals,
Oh,
what
yeah.
exactly do they mean?
Oh, well, they never do what you think they're going to do. It's not like grown-ups, you know. Actually, the biggest trouble we've had in this has been the babies, the little baby he's his little baby sister, you know. She's the one she doesn't want to sit in her chair. Well, she's just not going to sit in her chair. That's all there is. And you get 5 minutes of crying, and that's perfectly understandable. I mean, we were all that way when we were 2, you know. But he's actually, Kevin Zegers is delightful to work with and is absolutely as spot on as any adult actor I've ever seen. And Buddy, as a dog, is practically the same. He's a remarkably focused dog. You know, he really does the ball tricks, and he really does shoot the basketball. And of course, one of the things I want to make sure of is that we don't do a lot of optical shots or a lot of cuts. We want the audience to really see that this dog is really doing this. However, you know, when you think about it, Buddy, as a basketball-playing dog, could have been any kind of dog. He could have been an ugly dog, an unappealing dog, a dog that doesn't photograph well, a dog with a lousy personality, you know. But he's not. We got a dog who's great all the way around.
You know, you're doing a courtroom scene here, and I see that you're really moving the camera. Is this whole style of the picture, or?
It is to some degree. We're trying to get as much camera movement in as works. I think the movie is going to look much bigger than our shooting schedule might lead you to believe. We're trying to make a film that has some size and some scope. And in a room like this, you know, those kind of camera moves, very dramatic. We have a terrific cinematographer who lights beautifully and who shoots beautifully. He's got a terrific eye. That's Mike Southern. And his camera moves and all that stuff, I think, are just wonderful. So we're just going with it, you know. I think a lot of people on this short a shooting schedule might be hesitant to do that, but not us. We are brave and fearless, and we push ahead. No, it's really, I'm very pleased with the way everything's been looking.
Charlie, let me ask you from your body of work as an actor, what for you are, say, the highlights? What are the roles that you're most proud of?
Boy, I'll tell you, I've been very fortunate to have been cast in a number of really good movies. And it's not necessarily, I mean, it's largely coincidence, really. It's difficult for an actor because you play the best parts that you can of the ones that you're offered, you know. And if you're not offered great films, well, you're not in great films. I have been lucky to have been associated with some really good ones. I think probably I'm very proud of Never Cry Wolf, which partly because I was also a writer on it, and I had more to do with it than just to come and be there as an actor. And that was a labor of love. I worked on that film for actually 3 years. It was a year and a half of filming and a year and a half of editing, which I stayed through. So for 3 years of my life, I just did that one, worked on that one movie. I had friends that went off and did 5 or 6 films in that period of time, you know. I just did the one, and it's one that I'm very, very proud of.
I would think that over the years, working on so many films, that you really got to pick up some nice directing pointers.
Well, I've tried to pay attention. Yeah, I try to pay attention. It's been interesting to me to talk to. I've worked with a lot of terrific directors. I've worked with George Lucas. I've worked with Carol Ballard, who did Never Cry Wolf, who was just, I think, an absolute genius. Don't tell him I said so. I've worked with John Carpenter, who was wonderful. I've worked with Brian De Palma. I mean, talking about camera moves, he's so wonderful with the camera. And it's interesting. Their philosophies are different, and they have different strengths and weaknesses as directors. And I think, although those guys none of them have much in the way of weaknesses, but I've learned as much as I can from them, and having hung around long enough, you learn stuff, you know. Yeah.
Where do you want to take it?
Well, you know what? Somebody asked me the other day, what kind of movies would you really like to be doing, you know, as a director? And I said, this is what I really want to be doing. This is the kind of film I would love to make. My daughter is 11. She loves to go to the movies, and she likes movies about animals and, you know, good, heartwarming, uplifting stories with some style and some elegance to them. This is the kind of movie I'd like to make, and I'm happy. I'm delighted I'm actually making it. Not a lot of directors have that, can say that. I'm really happy about this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
You look relaxed enough.
Quiet, please.